How do you think of the boundary of public space and private space?
I love this place.
Jacobs once said that public space is a place of contact that is neither intimate or anonymous.
This is our second time to be here. It is not always good weather.
Right.
But
No,
today's weather is pretty good.
Yes.
Just as Sennett puts it, good public spaces are those that gather rather than disperse, integrate rather than separate, invite rather than exclude.
Well, it's actually cool to socialize with people outside.
Firstly, the increasing preservation of public spaces as places of representation means that they are being sold to private owners. As a result, the form and meaning will be privatized, with undesirables such as the homosexual or the homeless being excluded from public spaces. In the public space, there is always a risk that an individual privacy will be compromised, whether it is an actual conversation or a disclosure of personal information on the internet, which challenges public life and the boundaries between the public and the private space. As a result, some people prefer to retreat into private spaces.
I feel much more comfortable in a private space than in a public space, where I need to care about what others see and regulate my behavior. While still, I have to accept the behavior of others, such as the noisy crowds and naughty children. In fact, it is nice to find my own private space in a public area. At least I can do what I want to do, as long as I ignore other people's interpretations, which is not a bad idea. Well, I don't feel there's a public life here. People only talk to their friends and the people they know best. It doesn't create a substantial social behavior. Honestly, it is not as quick to make friends out there as it is on social apps with that effort.
Goffman's theory of front stage and backstage suggests that people actively manage the impression they make on stage because they are aware of how they will be perceived by the audience, whereas off stage they often fall into a state of relaxation. If public space is the right to gain access, private space is the right to exclude. The private sphere consists of the area of the self that an individual seeks to control and limit access to by others. It has a certain degree of privacy and exclusivity, and often indicates an individual's wealth or status. Private space is often closely linked to giving individuals privacy, which is defined in spatial terms and some form of inaccessibility or restricted accessibility. Where there is often a boundary of excluded access, it is therefore necessary for people to manage the boundaries of their surrounding space. The diversity of people's lifestyles and the design of urban spaces are blurring and multiplying the boundary between public and private spaces. Concerts and performances that take place outdoors bring the experience of private appreciation into a public place. breaking down the traditional intimacy of concert halls and the theaters. Private face-to-face business meetings can be replaced by conversation via mobile phone. Shared transport, such as shared bikes and shared cars, blurs the distinction between private and public transport. All the phenomena indicates a trend. The boundary between public and private space is becoming blurred, and this boundary is constantly changing with people's social activities. Internet and mobile communication technology makes people use mobile phones and computer more, and people carry out activities more in the virtual space, weakening the face-to-face communication in people's reality, leading to the weakening of the social function of urban public space and the decline of public life. How should we think about public and private space and their increasingly blurred boundaries? Should we reconfigure the common boundaries or break them down? I believe you already have your own answer, as we should also learn to recognize and manage our own boundaries, construct our own boundaries and social norms between public and private to better enjoy life and the world.
The internet, like the Industrial Revolution before.
Cell sites use microwave transmit. Tiny microwaves, thanks to their extremely rapid frequency, are incredibly efficient at moving huge amounts of data. Cell sites. This